Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for being late. Had some technical issues. Thank you so much. I'm oftentimes late, but I'm always on time, hopefully for you. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate your support to my super chat. Thank you. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. It wasn't long ago Matt Gaetz introduces bill to prevent Schiff from viewing classified documents. Adam Schiff is now a senator in California. I don't believe that's going to stop Attorney General Matt Gaetz. We're going to get to Matt Gaetz and his views on the Honorable Senator Schiff. But hit subscribe. The nomination will go through. So really quickly, before we hear Matt Gaetz, the nomination is going to go through. There's enough of a lead in the Senate. This was a huge, monumental, historic red wave. President Trump got the Oval Office, the executive branch of the presidency. He got the Senate. He got the House. He got the popular vote. He got every battleground state, every single battleground state in addition to the popular vote, and he has the Supreme Court. Okay? Democrats, thank God for Trump and thank God for the country, have not changed. They're the same Democrats. They want to form yet another resistance 5.0. They will never stop. They'll never look at their political party and say, oh, maybe we should have primaries based on meritocracy. So they're never going to stop. Paul, thank you so very much. In Australia, Paul, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to my super chat. Paul, thank you so very, very much. They haven't stopped. They're the same Democratic Party. Thank God. Vance is going to go 4 years after Trump. And I think that within Trump's second term, Attorney General Matt Gaetz will very likely, almost certainly, according to the latest news from Gaetz and others, indict California senator. Okay, and here's why. This is not long, well, it's about several years back, but this is just one example.
Congressman Matt Gaetz.
Actually, let's go ahead really quickly. Last year, Gaetz introduced a resolution preventing Adam Schiff from viewing classified documents because he viewed Adam Schiff to have committed crimes. Approve the indictments. This, by the way, was when Gaetz went after McCarthy, and Gaetz was at the forefront of altering the GOP forever, thank God.
Mr. Speaker, my friend from Oklahoma says that my colleagues and I who don't support Kevin McCarthy would plunge the House and the country into chaos. Chaos is Speaker McCarthy. Chaos is somebody who we cannot trust with their word. The one thing that the White House, House Democrats, and many of us on the conservative side of the Republican caucus would argue is that the thing we have in common, Kevin McCarthy said something to all of us at one point or another that he didn't really mean and never intended to live up to. I don't think voting against Kevin McCarthy is chaos. I think $33 trillion in debt is chaos. I think that facing a $2.2 trillion annual deficit is chaos. I think that not passing single subject spending bills is chaos. I think the fact that we have been governed in this country since the mid-90s by continuing resolution and omnibus is chaos. And the way to liberate ourselves from that is a series of reforms to this body that I would hope would outlast Speaker McCarthy's time here, would outlast my time here, and would outlast either of our majorities. Reforms that I have heard some of the most conservative members of this body fight for, and some of the reforms that we've been battling for that I've even heard those in the Democrat caucus say would be worthy and helpful to the House, like open amendments, like understanding what the budget is. We have been out of compliance with budget laws for most of my life, most of many of your lives. And by the way, if we did those things, If we had single subject bills, if we had an understanding on the top line, if we had open amendments, if we had trust and honesty and understanding, there would be times when my conservative colleagues and I would lose, might be a few times when we'd win. There'd be times that we would form partnerships that might otherwise not be really predictable in the American body politic, but the American people would see us legislating. These last few days, we've suspended the momentum that we had established the week earlier, where we were bringing bills to the floor, voting on them, staying late at night, working hard. That's what the American people expect. It's something Speaker McCarthy hasn't delivered, and that's why I've moved to vacate the chair. I reserve.
Gentleman's time is reserved. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr.
So that's, I mean, you listen to Matt Gaetz, and it's like it's like fresh air. Like it's a completely new, refreshing. He's like Trump. He's like Rand Paul. He's not an AI, an artificial intelligence robot. He doesn't work with a script, and that's why he's so wonderful. He understands exactly what Washington has done to Trump and to Republicans. He understands what Republicans have done to Trump. He understands what Democrats have done. That's a good thing. And to see him be Attorney General, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
All right, we've got another Trump appointment, and this is one that is probably going to surprise a lot of people because he was not on any of the lists that were floating around out there. And there had been some discussion that President-elect Trump was having a little trouble making this final decision, or maybe this is the person he had in mind all along. But he has now nominated Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz as Attorney General of the United States. He just wrote this on Truth Social. Quote, Matt is a deeply gifted and tenacious attorney, trained at William & Mary College of Law, distinguished himself in Congress through his focus on achieving desperately needed reform at the Department of Justice. Few issues in America are more important than ending the partisan weaponization of our justice system. Matt will end weaponized government, protect our borders, dismantle criminal organizations, and restore Americans' badly shattered faith and confidence in the Justice Department. So we're going to get some folks on the phone to get reaction to this. Fortunately, we still have Steve Hilton with us. Steve, we have been all kind of looking at different people that we had heard were in the mix for this position. And no doubt this is a surprise to a number of them who thought they were in the running. Your thoughts?
Well, the first reaction was, wow, President-elect Trump is really going for it. I mean, this is a very, very...
The only person better would have been Rudy Giuliani. Could you imagine? If Rudy Giuliani heads the bureau? Oh my God. It should be Kash Patel, but I mean, he has to pick somebody good, very good. And this is a new Republican Party. It's a new administration. People want accountability. Okay, they don't just want a good economy, they want accountability. They went after Trump and they accused him, they indicted him with everything they could. It didn't work. He won the popular vote as a convicted, as a person convicted in New York. Only Trump could do that, but only Trump could do that with his adversary. His adversaries are such miserable failures that he was convicted and still won the popular vote. Again, Trump's political adversaries are so utterly inept. They're so deceitful, and the people of this country despise them so much that Trump was actually convicted and still won the popular vote. That's not a public indictment of Trump's supporters. Democrats should look in the mirror and say, wow, the country moved away from us even when we indicted Trump and convicted him. What does that say about us? Maybe you convicted and indicted him based on nonsense. Maybe you broke the law in trying to imprison Trump. And that's how you got Attorney General Matt Gaetz.
very strong appointment. And exactly as he said in his statement, all those things he said about Matt are absolutely true. I'd like to add something that our audience may not know about Matt Gaetz, because, of course, he's so familiar as a firebrand. I think it was his book even called Firebrand. I think he called himself that. And a bomb thrower politically. But actually, he's very, very smart on policy. I got to know that when I'd have him as a guest on my show over the years. I remember the very first time he came on my show, and we had him on for a particular topic, and during the break, I asked him about the next thing that we were going to discuss. It was a completely unrelated topic. And he immediately came out with some incredibly smart policy-based observations that were so impressive. And I said, great, join for that discussion as well. And I've stayed in touch with him over the years. He's very smart. He knows policy. He's a serious guy. He doesn't always necessarily show that because he goes for the jugular politically. But it's wrong to dismiss him as just a political firebrand. He's much, much more than that. There's a depth to him that doesn't always come across.
You know, I think that what can be said about a lot of these picks, Steve, is that they will definitely cause all of the people, whether it's at the Pentagon or the Department of Justice,
yes,
they are sitting up straight in their chairs right now wondering what this is going to be like. I'm just picturing Matt Gaetz, if he is confirmed, walking into the Department of Justice for those big get-togethers.
He's going to indict a number of people. The way they tried to indict Trump and intimidate Trump, he's not going to do anything to intimidate anybody. He'll just look and say, you broke this law, you broke that law. There's a statute, 18 U.S. Code 371. If you're deceitful, if you utilize your government position, you can look it up, 18 U.S. Code 371. I wrote about it in the Federalist, and you can just look it up. It's the statute they used against Trump in D.C., okay? You can look it up. It basically says if you utilize your government position in a deceitful or disingenuous or, for self-interest, deceitful manner, you're breaking the law. And people utilized a great number of people utilize their government position to break the law and indict and imprison Trump. Okay, Donald Trump did not commit any crimes. There's a difference between being accused of everything under the sun and having evidence that you committed a crime. There's evidence that the people who went after Trump to imprison him did commit crimes. There's evidence that the law was utilized in a manner against Trump that it would never have been utilized against Democrats. There's evidence of bias, animus, an actual attempt at setting up and framing Trump. And they say, well, the Durham probe, you had the special counsel, they found nothing. You did not, like you heard within the first interaction between Gaetz and Mueller, they didn't really want to indict anyone with William Barr as Attorney General. So you had bureau officials and government officials actually siding with defendants. The Durham prosecution utilized witnesses, government witnesses, and the government witnesses sided with the defendants because the system was still against Trump in 2021, 2022. And so the entire political system is going to change. President Trump, God bless him, has completely altered. The pendulum has completely swung to Trump. And that's because of not just how amazing he is, but how utterly inept Democrats have been. And not just in terms of trying to set him up and frame him, but governing. They're terrible at governing. Look, if inflation goes down from where it is and interest rates go down from where they are, Trump wins, Vance wins 4 years after this. It's very simple. Forget like 23 keys or this scientific-based model. All of those were wrong. I was telling you Trump was going to win years back, and I was right. I didn't have, a scientific model. Look at inflation, look at interest rates, look at jobs, look at global quagmires. If we don't have those things that we had under Biden and Harris, Vance goes 4 years. Very simple. But we need accountability. If you don't hold people accountable, the same people that went after and framed Trump, they're going to just do it forever.
That they have with new leadership and what the reaction is going to be. And I'm guessing that you will probably have some people who say, I'm not necessarily going to stick around for that chapter.
Yes, and he would probably say good. But exactly as we were discussing earlier, this is what the country voted for. Mm-hmm. It was a clear victory, a decisive victory. And this is what Donald Trump was saying all the time in all the rallies. He was specifically in this particular area where Matt Gaetz will now play a leading role about the weaponization of the justice system. And again, let's go back to the point. The insiders and the establishment will say, this is how could you do this? This is completely appalling. Well, how well have they been doing running things? It's been a complete disaster. Merrick Garland's been a disaster as Attorney General. Yes, he's very qualified. He's a kind of establishment guy, was previously nominated as a Supreme Court justice, etc., etc. But on his watch, the confidence of the public in our justice system has completely collapsed. And so even on the base level, you could say, well, how much worse could it be? But I think it's going to be much better than that, because the phrase you used earlier, I think, is such an important one. It's a brilliant phrase that captures the energy here, a reform jolt. That is what's needed. That's what is needed right across the government, a real shake-up, and you're only going to get that from people who are incredibly clear in what they think and will lead in a very clear direction. Yeah. Some may not like it, but it's what people voted for last week.
Yeah, and I think Mary Catherine Ham just brought up the exit poll, our Fox News voter analysis, significant upheaval. People who said they wanted significant upheaval in the way that the government is run. I think people are so sick and tired of, watching how much it costs, how many of their tax dollars are spent, and not seeing huge results for that in terms of a stronger country, a country that's more efficient, where, our intelligence is the absolute best, our justice system is the absolute best.
When I see that Trump plane right there, I think to myself, okay, this man is essentially, Donald Trump has saved the country from a very, very corrupt, deceitful, petulant, disingenuous, vicious, nefarious, sinister, completely inept, wonderful, morally superior, highly educated, liberal Democratic Party. They're all those things and more. The Democrats of today are not the Bill Clinton's Democrats in the 90s. Oh, finally, you're going to say something nice about me? Bill Clinton's Democrats were superior to today's Democrats. Okay, there was even though he said, oh, I did not have relations, even though he went through all of that, he took the country through all of that, they were a different political party based on meritocracy. Bill Clinton actually won his primary. Hillary, not so much. Bernie Sanders was railroaded, and what they did to Biden was 10 times worse than what they did to Bernie Sanders. They don't even have a functioning primary. I mean, how do you expect to win the presidency if you don't have a functioning primary? With Trump, do you think I would vote for Trump if he acted like Hillary Clinton and Democrats and Harris and Democrats cheating Biden? I mean, you look at Bernie Sanders, the man was Bernie Sanders was cheated. He didn't even have the guts or the integrity or the honor to even acknowledge that he was cheated. Which if Trump, when Trump was wronged, whether it's in New York or 4 years ago or the Republicans in 2016, he told the world, he goes, I am being mistreated, and he wouldn't stand for it. And Democrats, the thing is they're so clueless. They're still now trying to remove any Trump supporters from their lives. You should probably, if you're a Democrat now and you lost everything politically, you should probably get to know Trump supporters. Not like in HuffPost, there's an article, oh yeah, I'm not going to go and have Christmas and Thanksgiving. Like you're not punishing anyone. You're just wallowing in ignorance. You should learn why people voted for Trump. You should learn why your political side loses. It's because you don't even have primaries, because you make absurd leaps of logic. Democrats, the same Democrats who disown friends and family, make absurd leaps of logic, where if they actually debated, they would lose the debate. Your rights haven't been taken from you. It was given to the states. If you live in a state where you don't like the laws, you can move, or you can work to change those laws within the state. The Supreme Court didn't take anything away from you. We have the most unintelligent intelligentsia of all time. The American intelligentsia is full of imbeciles. They don't, Trump got immunity? He's a king! No, he's not. Genius. He's protected. He's able to perform a speech. He's immune from prosecution for a speech. You tried to, in the most absurd manner, say that they tried to tell the world that Trump tried to form a rebellion with a speech. How stupid do you have to be to believe that nonsense? But they do. They believe it. And they're not intellectually honest or curious. They just believe in complete nonsense, fantasy. Trump was a Kremlin operative. How do you know this? Well, everyone is saying it. Oh, and he did this, and he's found liable of this in a civil court, not a criminal court. There's zero context or nuance here. But, I mean, it's like, if they did this to Trump, they could do this to any American. And that's why Matt Gaetz needs to play James Brown, The Big Payback, listen to the lyrics of The Big Payback. It's the most fantastic. I don't even be home, but they still keep on calling. It's amazing. It's the best song ever. Okay? It talks about people you should not be with, or people that you should, that Trump should address.
So very interesting. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of people who are not too happy today who, thought that they were in the running for this spot, but that's life. That's the way it goes. And this is his pick. So we'll see how it goes moving forward. Steve, thank you very much. Steve.
Florida Congressman Byron Donalds and Ned Ryan, American Majority founder and CEO. Now, this is how Republicans in Congress greeted Trump today. Check it out.
It's nice to win. It's always nice to win. We had like historic kind of numbers. The House did very well. I guess you'll be 5 up. Are you looking at 5 or 4? Doesn't matter. We get used to 1 for a little while. When you can get used to 1, you can get used to anything. I just want to thank everybody. You've been incredible. We worked with a lot of you to get you in, and you helped me, and you helped me too. It's the most important election in 129 years. That's pretty good.
He's in a great mood, Congressman. Things are looking very, very up for the Republican Party, but also for the country. When Trump is in a good mood, I always say happy Trump is best Trump. He was happy today. What was it like there?
He was happy. It was ecstatic. It was really a celebration. A lot of hard work went into this election of victory. People weren't sure how it was going to look. The polls were very tight. But if you were on the ground in these battleground states, you knew voters wanted Donald Trump back. So it was a time for celebration, not just with House members, but also the return to the White House. You could tell all the gaslighting from the left simply was not true. He's focused on the American people. It was a great time today.
Now, Ned, the Gaetz nomination, we're going to get to the Hegseth fury. There's some of that building. But the Gaetz nomination takes official Washington fury to a new level. And some conservatives are also criticizing it. I have someone crawling on my floor, by the way, right now. This is live TV. So what do you take away from this right now, where we are on the Attorney General pick? It's a critically important position. And of course, President Trump was undermined, he believes, by previous picks in that position. So he wanted a loyalist there.
Oh, I think it's a very clear signal from.
The word loyalist bothers me. There's no greater loyalist than Merrick Garland with Biden. He was held in contempt of Congress because he wouldn't give Biden's audio interview where he, Lord knows what he said regarding classified data in a special counsel that they had no intention of ever indicting Biden.
From Donald Trump that you will never weaponize the DOJ against the duly elected sitting president of the United States. We're going to have somebody in there who's a loyalist who will fight for Trump inside of the DOJ to make sure that never happens. And I think another part to it, Laura, is the idea of Matt Gaetz being Attorney General. I'm not sure how many of those career DOJ lawyers will be left by January 20th if Gaetz can get confirmed. But it was a very clear signal from Donald Trump with Gaetz' nomination. You will never weaponize the DOJ against me again.
Congressman.
I totally agree. Look, I sent out a message earlier today. Congratulations to the Florida man, Matt Gaetz. But if you want to clean out the Department of Justice, this is who you want. Somebody who's not afraid to open up all the filing
cabinets. Where is it going to lead?
No stone
Where is this going to lead? If he gets.
It's going to lead to him indicting California senator, DOJ officials, former bureau officials. This is his words, not mine. Matt Gaetz is an extension of Trump. Merrick Garland was an extension of Biden, who's an extension of the Democratic Party. The Republican Party and Democratic Party, I don't care about. I don't care about the Republican Party. I care about Trump. I care about the country, first and foremost. But I like Trump. Why? Because he was a great president. All these wonderful liberal Democrats who are like having the usual apoplectic reaction to Trump, they did well financially under Trump. The country did well financially, foreign policy, economic policy. It was very good. We had record low poverty with Trump. We had record highs in household median income. There's no rebuttal to that. The working class that the communists and socialists love so much did so much better under Trump. There's no rebuttal. It is what it is. That's why he won. And that's why he won the popular vote, because people were not doing well under Democrats. But I like Trump because he performed well as president. Democrats like Biden or Harris because they're told to do so. They know very well that economic policy was terrible, energy policy was a joke, foreign policy was a catastrophe. They don't care. It's like that's the definition. The definition of a cult is disowning friends and family because someone told you to do that, or because you feel that your tribe or your little world has been tarnished in some way. So you remove yourself from the world reality. You remove yourself from interactions with others who disagree with you. Okay. This has never happened before. When was the last time you heard, oh my God, you voted for Reagan? Well, I voted for Mondale. I'm never speaking to you again. Have fun with Christmas on your own. That never happened. That never happened up until recently.
It's confirmed. Where could we find the real bureaucratic bodies buried here?
Unfortunately, I think you're going to find a lot of it in the political brass. I think the rank and file, they just want to do their job for them, for the most part. We respect that. But the political brass has been allowed to stay and linger for a long time. I think that's where you're going to find most of your rot. He's going to get to the bottom of that. Have full trust in it.
Ned, can he get confirmed?
I think this is going to be a test of the new Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, and how much he wants to actually play ball with Donald Trump. I hope that all of these Republican senators, many of whom are still in the Senate, who confirmed Merrick Garland, will find it within themselves to actually confirm Donald Trump's choice for Attorney General Matt Gaetz. So if they can confirm Merrick Garland, Laura, they sure as heck had better confirm Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, here's what Senator Thune, speaking of whether they're going to be on board with Trump's agenda, had to say about it. Watch.
How do you intend to balance maintaining the independence of the Senate with passing the president-elect's agenda?
We will do the job that the founders intended us to do, the United States Senate, and that the American people intend us to do. And that, right now, after this mandate election coming out of the American people, is to work with this president on an agenda that unwinds a lot of the damage of the Biden-Harris-Schumer agenda.
Well, Congressman, that sounded pretty good. I mean, he sounded like he was on board with the Trump agenda. He said it was a mandate. That's John Thune. He's Mitch McConnell's protege. And
John Thune knows that he doesn't want to be another Mitch McConnell. He understands Mitch McConnell's not popular among the 70-plus million. No, close to, what's the popular vote now? 76, 77, 74, 75. I'm not, what's the popular vote now? Somebody tell me. So he knows that McConnell's not popular. So John Thune doesn't want to be another McConnell.
Now, I like him a lot personally, but what is that?
Let's get real for a moment. The Senate Republican majority is Donald Trump's Republican majority.
They would not be in the majority were it not for Trump.
He is the reason we have a majority. It is because of Donald Trump. So I fully expect the senators to do their job, look through the law, look through all the people that get put up, but they're going to make sure that Donald Trump's agenda passes because it is the Trump agenda that the American people overwhelm.
I would love Byron Donalds to be in a top position in Trump's cabinet. I would love that.
Wants. It is a political mandate. It is not for the senators to decide what will they want to have happen. It's the will of the voters through Donald Trump. That's what needs to happen.
All right, this is going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. Congressman and Ned, thank you both.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for some of the technical issues early on. Hit subscribe if you're new. I will get the segments that I want over the years regarding Matt Gaetz. For some reason, it's difficult to find all the good segments that I wanted. I don't know why, but anyway, I think that this is going to be so amazing and fantastic. I mean, this is like we're all a kid in a candy store right now. This is amazing. If you liked Merrick Garland and you're a Democrat, you're going to love Matt Gaetz. Imagine Merrick Garland, but a supporter of Trump. So Merrick Garland was held in contempt of Congress, as was President Obama's Attorney General. So Democrats have two attorneys general who've been held in contempt of Congress. So spare me the histrionics regarding Matt Gaetz. But anyway, hit subscribe, people. God bless you all. I'll be back.